All right. So I have a confession.
Tell me everything.
Okay. So I just got a box in the mail. I got a package in the mail, and I have been testing out new lubes. And I
Mm.
know that you and I we have discussed CBD lube before.
Yes, we have. Actually, it was THC lube, so there's that.
Well, I've been testing out CBD lubes because one of my clients has started a new company, and so she's been sending me some CBD lubes.
Mm.
And so she just sent me the newest one. And it has there's two different kinds. There's one that's designed for, because I'd requested one that has like pH levels for like our vaginas. And so it's a
Mm-hmm.
pH leveled for, and it's called, I think it's called like Refresh or Renew or something like that. I'm like, please change this name and not make it sound like, I'm douching my vagina.
Like Vagisil or whatever.
Right. But it's pH leveled for your vagina, and then the CBD is supposed to relax it and make it happier while you're having
Mm-hmm.
sex with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, she has created it for people who are doing like pelvic floor wands and stuff to help relax that, which I thought Alex would be interested in.
Yeah.
To help relax
Ooh.
that, and also keep the pH level happy and nice and neutral when you're in there. So that's what she created it for. And then she created a
Ooh.
second one that has a little bit of cardamom and peppermint and cinnamon to help give it some stimulation.
I was gonna ask if you've ever tried the ones with the peppermint. That's a real fun time.
I have not, because in general my vagina does not want any kind of crazy stimulation. It just likes to be like neutral. It doesn't need extra. It doesn't extra.
It's fun.
But I did pull it out and I like tasted it. And it was nice and it was smelly and beautiful. And my hand is still tingling like 35 minutes later.
Ah! Oh no! Did you rub your eye?
No, I did not rub my eye, a jalapeno problem person, um, because I know better.
Don't do it. Don't do
But
it. Oh my god. Uh-oh.
but I might take it for a spin tonight by myself because now
Just
I'm
don't touch your
intrigued.
eyes. That's all I can think about. It's like the minute it would be out, I'd be like, okay, don't touch your eyes. And then all I can think
Oh,
about is
and then
like,
just touch
I
your
just want
eyes.
to touch my eye. Oh no. Oh, did
So
you also
yeah,
hear that?
so
We went, oh no, oh no, 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 no.
yes. So now I have these two that lovely new lubes to test with all the toys that she's been sending out. So it's
Well,
been
you know
fun.
you need to
And
be sharing these on your stories when I get the seal of approval.
yes, when I get the seal of approval. So once they're all done, and she's just like, okay, this is what it's happening, and they're all made in Utah, so
Ooh.
they're all made locally ish in the area of where I live. So
Sign
pretty
me up.
excited. So pretty excited. Not been like a proponent of like CBD things before, but I will say that I'm excited that she's into these, and they seem very nice. They seem
So you weren't using it in the right places, apparently.
clearly clearly not. Though I mean, I have esthetician friends who swear by CBD on the face for like acne clients to help like relax the skin and reduce inflammation.
I think even for the pelvic wand and doing like myofascial release for the pelvic floor, like that would be another really great application because so much of the CBD product for muscle is like menthol, and I'm
Yeah.
not about them. Mm-mm.
Yeah, well, that's what she said, that she was a proponent of using her pelvic floor wand, and she was like, she found that it was just when she first started that it was a little aggressive, is the word she used. It was a little aggressive to
Mm-mm.
kind of to use it, and so she was like, I wanted to create a lube for myself, and so she created a CBD, and she had talked to me about it, and I was like, well, you need to keep it at neutral pH, blah blah blah, and she's like, I wonder if I could just make a lube with that, and so that she's been working on for a while now. And she'd already had one that had like a little bit of stimulation, but she'd never had one that was just for the wand. So now
Mm.
she has both.
Yeah, definitely keep me posted because the one that I purchased when I got my wand is like B minus at best. So
Yeah, this one's creamy too. It's like a creamy. It's not a gel. It's like very creamy, which is
yeah,
nice.
keep me
It's
posted, please.
yeah, it's really nice. I will. So I'll keep everyone posted as I know more. So there you are. I know all the product nerds out there are like, ooh, I love product anywhere.
Also, I love product testing when it turns out well because I've definitely received product and they were like, can we send you some free stuff? And I'm like, this is garbage. So I will not be telling anybody that I use this. Thank you.
100%. This is what happens 100%. I know. This is the things that happen in life. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this party started. Hi, I'm Sewell Solon. I'm an esthetician and spa owner.
Hi, I'm Alex Ellis. I'm a body nerd and wellness expert, and we are business besties.
And bosses, running your own business is hard.
But we're terrible employees, so we're figuring it out.
I've already figured it all out, which is why we promise to share everything we know about what it takes to make six figures and beyond.
And be brutally honest about what works and what totally sucks.
A bunch of it totally sucks. So let's get started.
Welcome back to Skinfessional. I also have a confession. I literally cannot say that line without laughing every single time because as a business owner, you're like, God, it really does suck sometimes. And that's just like such a natural part of running a business. So
it's 100%
we're
true.
Here. We're in our safe space and let's talk about that. So today we're going to talk about truth versus secrets, but really how to collect testimonials and befores and afters and like what the difference is between your truth and the real story and also client secrets because they're in a super vulnerable place when they come and work with us.
It's true. And we're going to be talking about in the land of social, how do you decide how much to show, how much to tell, and how much you just like say nothing about?
This is a super interesting conversation. And I do think that, in the land of social media and in the time that we're at, screenshots and sharing things are so prevalent. A lot of people are doing it. From a consumer standpoint, like especially talked about it last episode, hairstylists, if I go to your account and there's no photos of people who look like me and have hair like I have, I'm going to assume that you don't know how to do it. If everybody has like blonde hair flat ironed with a wave, I'm like, you're not my person. So I do think that for our potential future clients, it's very helpful to see that thing. But I also know for you, Sybil, right, you have like private clients and then you also have like private clients.
Yeah. I have like where we kind of started this where I was discussing the fact that I have such a huge stack of NDAs. And if you don't know what that means, it means a stack of forms in which I cannot disclose any information ever about what I've heard, seen, or done. And I'm not a lawyer and I have a ton of them. And this just happens. They come in to see me and they're like, and here's my NDA and we will never speak about anything ever.
Which is, I just feel like I should have one too. And also you guys, if you're a client of hers and you're listening or you're like wondering, her respect and commitment to these NDAs is so strong. Like I'm hoping if I see an acknowledgement of a book or even in your will, okay, if it says, Alex, you were right, I will know that I was correct and I will just go to my happy place. Okay, that's all I need. You don't need to say anything else. I just need to know. I've been trying to figure out who her clients are for years, you guys. And like, I don't even know. Okay. So she's the secret keeper of all secret keepers I've ever met.
It's true. I keep my client secrets. I do not talk about my clients. In fact, I have been known, my ex on my book, he could see my book, my calendar, and I was known to have fake names for the people on my book so that he didn't know who I was seeing on my book. Like I had like fake names for them because God forbid he should see so-and-so was seeing me that day.
Right.
I just would not talk about them. And it's because one, a lot of my clients had NDAs and I really couldn't talk about them, but also to a certain degree, I just find that it's important to me that my clients feel very safe when they see me. And so I've always kind of had this thing where, what happens in my room stays in my room. And I want my clients to feel that I never discuss them with someone else. I don't care if you're a teacher or, you're a Bangladeshi princess and who sees me. I want to make sure that you feel safe and secure in the knowledge that I don't discuss you or gossip about you to anyone. As a person, I'll be like, I have a client, right? But you'll never know who it is. Could be anyone. But in the world of social, it becomes really hard because yes, I really do wish I was holding up X, Y, and Z person and being like, yeah, hashtag me and get me all of your fans. Or I wish I could use all of their pictures and before and after and be like, that's my work. I did that. That's not Clairol. That's me.
Right. Well, I also, I pose a question too, and I will pose it again. are there people on your roster at this point? Because I know you don't have a lot of new clients because your book is so limited right now that the people who are
Mhm.
seeing you have been seeing you for a long time. Like, are there people that you could say, or just ask, like, at the end of service, oh my gosh, you look so great today. Um, can we take a picture to share or something? Like, would that just be
Yeah.
too weird?
So you asked me this and I literally was like, I don't know. I've set the precedent so much where I've never asked people that I've never thought about it until you said that because it's just never crossed my mind. I've been doing this for so long that I started doing this before the land of social. So
Mm-hmm.
many of my clients have been with me before I would be like, can I post your pictures on social media? And a lot of my clients are of an age where they're like, well, why would I post my picture on social media? That seems weird to me. But I mean,
Right.
I do have a couple clients once in a while, like, they'll come in and I mean, I do have like a blanket statement on any of my paperwork that says I can use your, you know, I can use your pictures for, marketing if I choose to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, but I could. And if I ever do post something, I make sure that like you literally don't see them. Like they're under a mask or they're under a light or it's like so far away that they're like blurry or something.
Well,
So
and when you
I
post
don't
those
know.
pictures, you've asked them too, right? If you can post a photo.
Yeah. So I always say, hey, I'm going to put this photo up of you. And they're always like, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
I
but even
think
so, you can't see their face.
right. I mean, I feel like this is definitely a conversation to be had with your clients. I think also like precedence, right? If you're like, I've never
Hmm.
done this, and that's what we've talked literally last episode about training your clients.
Right.
And if you have trained them not to expect that, then it's kind of a jarring, right? To be like, okay, but now I'm gonna take all your pictures, you know? But that still leaves an opportunity for like new clients coming in and
Hmm.
training yourself into
Right.
like asking that question. Um, I'm just trying to think of like other ways. Oh, this is the other point I was going to make is like as a client, especially when you see someone who like shares a bunch of photos, like my nail technician is always like sharing photos of her work. And when she doesn't ask, I'm like, oh. And when she does
Oh,
ask, like, can I take a picture? I'm like, oh my God, I feel so special that my hands have been chosen to be featured. And this is like not even, nobody's faces are being shown. So I
right.
think like maybe we underestimate too. Of course, I'm a very open person. Like I'm sharing everything. But it's a conversation,
It's
just
true. It's
ask.
true. It's true. And I know that so a lot of the people I follow are hairdressers. So I follow a lot of hairdressers on social. And I know one of the things that they're constantly talking about is how best ways to take pictures of your clients without showing faces and like to show the hair without faces. And I'm like, I literally can't show what I do without showing a face. Like this is what I do.
Right.
And so I know that I'm not the only person. So if you're out there listening, people, and you're a hairdresser or you do something else, I feel you. We are on the same wavelength. Alex, I don't know if for I mean, you live and breathe testimonials. And so that
Yeah.
is another way that you can gather information. And my clients love giving me testimonials. I mean, they'll be like, I'm happy to talk you up, Sybil. I'm happy to like, you can post my text message and you can, put up my Yelp review or whatever. But there is in my mind something different about that and putting their name on that and or putting their face to it, you know.
Yeah.
They're like, this
No,
is what they used to look like and this is what they look like now.
100%. Although I do think that there is some value of sharing. I mean, even like an after, just the after, like not necessarily the before photo,
Okay.
but even the after, or maybe it's like before and after from just that session. Maybe it's just like one area, but I 100% now when you put it in that context, like I hear what you're saying. It's like, it's not quite the same to be showing somebody's face. Because even when I share a screenshot, and also, again, this is as simple as asking a question. And I saw this modeled for me from Melissa Urban, who is the founder of the Whole 30. And
Mm-hmm.
you would see, she would post screenshots of DMs and literally they would say this amazing testimonial of how the Whole 30 changed her life, whatever. And the next line, she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing. Do you mind if I share this publicly on my stories? I can tag you or
Mm-hmm.
not. And
Right.
asking that question, people, again, more often than not are like, oh yeah, please do. So I'll share screenshots, right? We have check-ins within my membership. People will say, oh my God, like I'm sleeping better. I'm like, great, take a screenshot. I usually blur out their name, for
Mm-hmm.
privacy. It's in my terms and conditions that that's part of by you showing up and being there that, I can share your stuff. But that's also different from like a more intentional testimonial, right? At the end of our
Mm-hmm.
relationship together. And so how I go about those is, we have just finished a session or a series, whatever. You're feeling
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Everything you wanted to happen has happened. And I say, I'm so proud of you and all the progress you've made. This has been really awesome. And I know so many people would benefit from hearing what your experience was like. Is that something you'd be willing to share? And
Yeah.
even if they say yes, maybe if they say, oh, I'm not really comfortable, they go, okay, no problem. It doesn't matter. But if you keep asking, then you're going to get people who say yes. And then you're going to have a bank of videos that you can use or text or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
which is helpful. I mean,
Right.
there's also like a whole another camp too that's saying that like testimonials are, using the psychology of sales and they're too, influential. But I also think like people, I want to know that you're a real person and you're not a crook. And
Yeah.
when I see
Testimonials
testimonials,
are 100% work. And I don't think
mhm,
that like they're, guess what? Once again, and we've done an episode on this, everyone knows that they're being sold to. They
mhm,
know what we're doing here. If you're on social and you think that I'm not selling to you when I provide a service, I don't know who you are.
mhm,
That's my job. My job is to sell you something. Your job is to decide whether you want what I'm selling. The difference is,
mhm,
am I like telling you a lie? And what I'm trying to say is I'm not showing you a lie, I'm telling you the truth. Because here are my
mhm.
pictures and here are people who agree. Ta-da. And
And
that's a
also
testimonial.
I was just saying your account too doesn't have to be all testimonials. Like you could
No.
also be educating, right? You could be
Yes.
sharing, here's this new technique, here's this new product I tried, I really like, and here's why. And then, every 9 posts or something like that, then throw in a testimonial there too. So it's not like one or the other. I
Hmm.
think the biggest thing too is just to like make that ask because more often than not, people are probably going to be really willing. But if you don't train yourself to get into the habit
Yeah.
to ask for these stories, there's all these stories that you're not collecting. And even if you don't share them publicly, I will often take screenshots of comments and posts and things from social media and I put it in a folder because on those
Hmm.
days where you're like, this is garbage, I'm terrible, why am I even doing this? You open that folder and you look
Yes.
at what people have shared and what they have said and how the work that you do has transformed their lives. And you're like, oh, this is why I do it. So even just
I
for
know.
that is really important.
It's true. Also, I will say that I do have a folder of we call them B&As in my industry, right? Before and afters that I keep on my computer that I will show to my clientele who are in office that I will not show to social people. That I'll be like, hey, you're
Mm,
thinking about doing this specific treatment. Here are some of my favorites that I have had happen in my office that, and I will show them specific ones that are like them that I can show them that I've gotten results from. That way I know that I'm
mm.
showing somebody specifically something that's happened that they're seeking and I'm not showing it to the world, you know.
Ooh, that just gave me an idea too. Like another way to do that in office, possibly, would be like one of those electronic frames, those picture frames.
Mhm.
And so you could like lay them out in Canva, which is a free tool online.
Right.
So you have the before and after, and maybe put a blurb on there of like what service was done. And then that could just be going in your lobby and people could be like, oh, or not your lobby, but like your waiting area
Right.
and
Wherever you
see
are,
you.
yes.
Yeah, and then those people who have already committed and have said yes and are in the door can also see. And maybe too, they'll see a service that they haven't had yet, and then oh, well, what about that? I
Yeah.
think like I love Formula One. These dudes are dripping in advertisement, like everywhere. There's in their collar, the breast, like everywhere are freaking ads. And that's like the extreme, but I think there's a lot that we can learn, like somewhere on that spectrum of how to continue to. And it's not even selling; it's just showing people, like, "Hey, here's this other thing I have. You might be interested."
Right. This is what's possible. Well, one of the reasons I
Mhm.
like to do it when and not have it just sitting around, which that's a great idea. And I used to have those sitting around, the little picture frames. Good way to sell gift certificates in your bathrooms, by the way, is to put one of those up that frame that goes around with gift certificate on it. Is that
Ooh.
I know that when I'm showing somebody specifically my before and afters, I also know that I don't have just a person just sitting around. It's not just a before and after just sitting around for anyone to see. It's a specific before and after that somebody's looking at, and it feels more like
Intentional.
sacred. Yeah, it feels more
Mm-hmm.
sacred. And that's the thing about before and afters for me. Like if I'm showing somebody's face off, it is this sacred moment for me. Like we've worked together. I respect this person. It's almost like Alex, when, we've done cadaver classes together, and,
Mm.
you have to be very careful of this body that you're using. Somebody's, how they used to look for some people is like that. It's this very sacred moment that they don't like to remember who they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to remember that. And so when we talk about like truth for people, we have to remember that even though we've made changes for people, some people don't see that those changes. And so the reason why you take those pictures is to remind them that those changes are real. And we take those pictures because it marks time as well. Like we came from
Mm-hmm.
this place and we've moved to this other place.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds it for us, because sometimes even I've looked at my pictures and been like 5 years later and been like, oh my God, you look so much better now than even you did 5 years ago. And look at the work we've done. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it also, it kind of reminds us also that, you know, the person that you've done this work with is very important and has feelings attached to that moment. Because I
Yeah.
also keep chart notes with every one of those before and afters. And
Mm.
I actually write down, and Alex was talking about when we first started this episode that she has, when she does her intake, she uses a notation, and
Notion.
she uses Notion. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, I just use chart notes. And so I put the picture and I have little chart notes under it. And I literally write down exactly what that person said to me
Mm-hmm.
about what they didn't like about themselves and what they wanted to fix. I
Mm-hmm.
quote, I use quotation about what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I remind them that this is something that they said to me, because people forget when they're like in the future, even if it's
Mm-hmm.
6 months, 2 weeks, they forget. Oh yeah. They'll say things like, oh yeah, I mean, I wanted like that's fine now. Like that looks great. But what I want now is, and we sometimes forget that what we wanted before, we've gotten that now. So we've forgotten that we fixed what we wanted. And so we just kind of move past it, and we don't
Yeah.
celebrate those wins.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There's literally so much here that I want to unpack. Okay. Number one, would you feel differently about sharing these photos? Like, I completely understand the respect for like that person and that
Mhm.
time where they were and all of that. Would it be different if you had asked, like, hey, can I share this? Like, would you be okay with that? And they said yes and they were excited about it.
Yes.
So
If they were
maybe
excited
that's
about
just,
it. Yeah. So that's definitely a thing that Alex has made me think about. And I'm like, I need to get into the headspace of, it's my own headspace. So we talk a lot of times, like we have like money stories and whatever. I clearly have a story about sharing people's before and afters, which I need to work
mm-hmm.
on.
Mm-hmm. And also, I think, like, I don't necessarily need to see the before to know that the after looks awesome.
Right. I
There's
mean,
that
yes, that
too.
is true. That is true. But I will say that when you see that after with the before, you're just like, damn.
I mean, I have befores and afters on my own face. And like the disappearing of this line between my
Right.
brows, like I show people that all the time. Like, you're never gonna believe this. Like, look at this photo. And it just makes a big difference. But I
Right.
think too, because it's not, I'm trying to think like the best way to say this. I think there's this fear sometimes that if we go out there and we show this before and after, you are putting somebody, there's exposure that comes, and then
Yes,
that opens you up
exposure.
with this maybe for, criticism, or like, you didn't really do that, or how could that be? Or like, that person doesn't even look that great. And so I understand wanting to protect that person. But also too, like if they say like, oh no, like go ahead and share.
Mm,
So I think there's the consent from them, and then there's
mm,
also for us to be okay with what sharing is going to mean. And I think for the consumer, for the potential client, like they need to or not need, but it's just nice to see someone who you're like, oh, in my world as well, oh, that person, had a similar injury that I had and now they're feeling better. Maybe that's possible for me. And I
Right.
think really too, like that's the purpose of stories and testimonials and all of this, is to show people what's possible without you having to be the only voice of
Right.
that.
No, you don't have to be the hype person. And like there
Yeah.
is something to be said about a picture speaks 1,000 words, right?
Hmm.
There is something said to that, and it's true. I mean, and understand that I sometimes do have, if you've seen my stories, and Alex, you have too, that I have to explain pictures sometimes. Like, here's before and after, and people will be like, I mean, I see that there's change. They look
I
different. And then I'll be
love
like,
when you
let
explain
me
it.
break it down for you. And I circled the stuff. I'm
Hmm.
like, this is what you're seeing.
Hmm.
And people are like, damn, was that what
Yeah.
I'm seeing?
Yeah. And, the estheticians, I think, we sometimes try to share and like, I've done this too, where I'm like, I want to make sure that all of my colleagues know I know what I'm doing. But who
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to share this story for isn't that person.
Right.
It's for the person that like doesn't know, they want something else, but they don't know how exactly to get there. And so again, we're showing them what's possible. And what you said too, of like asking them and taking detailed notes. I just had a client like last week, a private client, who's just like, everything's like going kind of good. And, like, I, just, I can't remember the exact context, but it's kind of like, how do I know when things are going well? And to be able to
Mm-hmm.
go back in the notes and say, well, this is what you told me when we started. How would you rate that? And I think
Right.
that's really important too, of just asking them. And maybe there's categories with that. Like right now, I'm working with a nutritionist, and her categories are like food stress and body confidence. And I got to define what that meant for me. And so
Mm-hmm.
her question each week is like, well, how are we with this? And it's a goal that I preset. And that's great for the times where, and this happens with all of our clients, right?
Right.
Where like things
Right.
are great. They're so awesome. Everyone's jazzed. And then they have a hard week and they're like, this is garbage. Nothing is working. And to be able to like, okay, but here's where we started and look where you're at now. And I honor and recognize that it's really shitty right now, but look at all the stuff you've done.
Right.
So like that story collection is a piece of that as well. So I'm just like, I'm selling you on asking for stories because it helps you serve them better. It helps your potential
Totally.
clients serve better. Also, your current clients are like, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I feel special when I get selected to be like a testimonial.
I will remember the nail story and being like, Mom selected to go up there and look amazing.
It's like the best day
I'm
of my life.
selected. I am selected. It's true. But and it is important though, that consent is so important. And
Mhm.
I see sometimes I see these pictures up where people are like, I stuck the pictures up and clients will later be like, yeah, they stuck my picture up and I didn't know that. Like my friend told me I was up there and I'm like, did you just say your
Yeah,
friend told you you were up there?
not appropriate.
Okay. Yeah. So like I said, my consent form has a blanket statement saying that I can use any photo I want for marketing purposes. That doesn't mean I do. I still ask
Mhm.
because like I still ask.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick. Like don't
Moral of the story. Don't be a dick when you're asking people for stories.
don't be a dick. Make sure that you're honest and truthful about things. And when it comes back to, we have to be honest with our clients and we have to decide how we keep their secrets and how we keep them truthful. And this is the other thing when it comes to like how we share things. If you're gonna put filters and stuff on stuff, and it's hard because I think phones now just automatically filter things. It's so hard. They just auto filter. You know,
Mm-hmm.
be as truthful as you can with every photo that you take and every photo that you put up, and even just for yourself. It's hard sometimes because you're just like, ah,
Skin
they just
smooth times a million.
right. It's so hard because you have to show your clientele, be like, nope, this HD camera shows all your pores, but understand in real life
Mhm.
nobody can see them.
I mean, yes. Also, I just realized I got a comment one time on social media that like my eyebrows and my forehead were so expressive. And it actually, we were just talking about an influencer and looking at photos, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's because so many people have Botox
Yeah,
and don't talk about it that a forehead that moves is weird.
right. That your forehead actually does move is like
Yeah.
impressive.
Like,
right? Because most
what?
people's foreheads, they're like, oh my God. And the eyebrows just don't move anywhere. They're just like, oh my God. If you watch me guys right now on YouTube, you would see me not moving my eyebrows. It took a lot of work, but oh my
I
God,
don't
and
even
with
know how
no
I did
eyebrow
that.
movement.
It's
I have
good. So
very
yeah,
expressive eyebrows as well.
let's be honest. Let's ask for consent. And also encourage yourself to step out of your comfort zone if you haven't been asking for stories already.
Mm.
But also, like, let's share with one another too. So I also, if you have a story or a way that you collect stories, or you're in a, you know, me, I love my process and my my symptoms, my systems,
For
already
SOPs.
for for collecting stories, like, definitely let us know. I feel like we've really crossed our T's, dotted our I's, talked about our symptoms and our systems. Do you have anything else to add to stories and testimonials?
No, I do believe stories and testimonials are there, and we even touch a little bit on keeping your clients' secrets and deciding how you wanted to keep them yourself. So, which I think is a good thing. So we're just going to move on to the rest of the episode today, which is Alex telling us about
Well, you're going to tell
leaving.
me.
We're gonna tell us everything about leaving reviews for us today and leaving
Oh,
us
yes.
testimonials.
Yes. But yeah, let us know your process and how you have been collecting, or if you have like a horror story and you need someone to laugh with about it, we will do that for you. So you can hit us up on Instagram. The show is at Skinfessional. You can find Sybil at Skin Fitness Expert. You can find me at Hala for Mala. You can pick a card as to which one of those is the hardest to spell. I think Sybil really, hers is the easiest. So just spell hers and then you can find the
That's
rest
okay.
of us.
I put them all at the bottom on YouTube and they're all in the show notes. So congrats.
There you go. Or you can leave us a voicemail into our box. CBD or not CBD lube with this one?
Okay, so definitely going to be CBD lubing with this one, and because it's a box. Okay, so we definitely
Okay,
need CBD.
good.
It's probably going to be peppermint,
Ooh,
right?
tingly.
Ooh, tingly.
Don't touch your eyes.
818-473 818-473-5277. And leave us,
And then
leave us the message.
if you want to write an email because you're just really more of like an author in that way. That's cool. You can leave us an email at skinfessionalpod@gmail.com. That's skinfessional like this show, POD @gmail.com.
All right, everyone. This has been a super fun episode. I'm going to listen to it again as I edit it and laugh hysterically, I bet.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
until next week.
Keep your secrets to yourself.
Unless you're telling us. All right,
Bye.
bye.